Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And well, y'all know it's always morning over here. I know it's 3 o'clock. Well, it's 3 o'clock Eastern time. How's everybody doing today? Happy Saturday. I was trying to come live yesterday, y'all, but the way my off day was set up yesterday, I was off. I refused to turn the computer on. And then I had the bright idea to hang out with one of my good old friends. Child. I had a ball yesterday. I hope you guys were off. Well, if you weren't off, I'm sorry, but go to work. But if you had the day off, I hope you really did get the opportunity to just enjoy the day off like I did. I had a wonderful day. Today is Saturday, and yeah, I'm here. I hope you guys are really having a good day today. I hope you're having a good weekend. I know tomorrow is Easter. If your baby's hair is getting done, I remember doing all those things with my children every single Easter. So if that's your thing, get ready, get ready. Tomorrow's the big day. I hope you got Easter baskets for the babies if you celebrate in that way, shape, or form, however you celebrate. And if you don't, that's just fine too. And anybody that's celebrating Ramadan during the Ramadan season, just all of the things, enjoy this moment, this day. You don't get this day back ever, ever, ever. So just enjoy it however you choose to celebrate. I hope everybody's having a good day. Can't be here for a long time. This is a really sad case that I'm going to cover today. It has been, I am a Michigander, and this case has been all over the news this week. Like, yeah, I'll talk about it as we get into the story and as we get into. I went back and forth about the videos I was going to show today, and I will tell you why I chose the one video that I chose. If you Google the information, the actual footage of the video is out there. I just can't show it. I wouldn't make it through it, first of all, and it just doesn't need to be shown on it's triggering. It's very triggering. So let's get into the chat. Let me welcome you guys. Welcome to Organized Chaos's little space where I do all of the things. Today's thing is we all deserve to be remembered. This goes along with my DNA journey about remembering those who have left us, and just acknowledging their existence and giving them a space where they will always reside. Yeah, so I got here because I am an educator. I love the kids, the babies, sometimes the grown-ups, but the kids. And I've been on a DNA journey. So I just wanted to share, just some of the things that I find interesting in the news. Some of it is heartbreaking, but I think they're all stories that deserve a voice and that they all need to be told. This story today is difficult to tell. I'm learning as I grow in this We All Deserve to Be Remembered space. It's very difficult to do brand new cases that are fresh. You have families that are still grieving, processing what exactly happened to their dearly departed. And it's just a really difficult subject area. But the way that I do it, I really only cover the news that is out there. And there are a few cases that we need to go back. I have a few cases on my list that we need to go back on, and this will be one of them. When we finish today, we'll talk about all of them, but this case will definitely be one that we need to go back on. All right, let's get started. You guys, if you would please help your girl get to 500 subscribers by my 50th birthday in June. I'm so excited to be turning 50. Yesterday, I decided I was going to have a brunch. And I just put the invitation out there to my people. Like, y'all show up and come hang out with your girl. So I'll be 50 in June. And if you would please subscribe to the channel, like the channel, and share if you care, I would really appreciate it. And blessings to you all. I would also like to thank all of my subscribers that have been with me, not since day one, because my day one is not really day one, but since I decided to really do this YouTube thing seriously, it's been about a year, COVID. So thank you. And to all of the new subscribers, I have been getting so many new subscribers. It's so exciting to go backstage and to see those little numbers jumping up. So we're getting closer to 500. Just thank you. And thank you, everybody. I appreciate you so much. I have a few YouTube people that I hang out with. I would like to support as well. Foxy and Family, Saki Speaks. I see you are a family. Bikini Body Challenge. Evelyn, where you being, Evil? I've been missing my morning truck drives. My girl Nola Reads and Sinful, the P and Family. All of those links to those content creators are in the chat. Please subscribe if you have not. I would appreciate it. All right. Hey, Nola Reads, girl. Hey, girl. Hey, happy Saturday. Bars. Kimber, good morning, sunshine. How are you? Hey, Kimber, it's good to see you. Hello, Caramelinated. Yes, thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have a video about my hair coming. You guys, I don't know if you've ever watched any of my lock updates. That's really, well, before the crazy drinking journal I did, that's kind of what made me consistently post on YouTube, was the start of my lock journey. And I knew I was turning 50. If nobody else knew I was turning 50 this year, I knew. This journey was a part of my turning 50 process, locking my hair. I've been fighting with my hair for 50, well, not 50 years total, but a long time. And I'm not having that fight on the other side of this life mountain. I'm just not. So I locked it last year because I wanted it to be as mature as possible by my birthday. And so here we are. The video I recorded today at the barbershop is my 1 year lockiversary video. So I will be putting that, it's going to be a pre-recorded video. I should be putting that video out within the next week, child. I don't like editing anymore. It's not my thing. It's too time consuming and it's stressful. But I'm gonna get it done because I need my 1 year lockiversary video. So I will have that up hopefully within the next week or so. I appreciate the compliment though. Thank you, Caramelinated. Yes, everybody is giving love. Yes, yes, and yes. Hey, happy odd. Oh, I missed that. Hey, happy odd day. How are you? How are you? And how are you? Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. All right, so let me see what else. Oh, y'all just giving love to everybody. Yay. Okay, so listen. Okay, y'all know this is where I have to take deep breaths and go slow. Okay. So there is in Michigan, I'm in Michigan. There is a city in Michigan called Grand Rapids. And earlier this week, there was some footage from a police camera that came out about a young man whose life was taken on April the 4th in Grand Rapids, Michigan, by the hands of a police officer. The actual video footage, I'm not going to show all the video footage. I am going to show a 2-minute video as soon as I get done talking, and then we're going to get into the news articles. And all of the articles that I will be referring to today are in the description of the video. So I have sat and I have watched. There are actually about 4 different views of the incident that took place on April the 4th. The incident from the officer's camera captured the stop, the questioning, the chase of an unarmed Black man. The officer's camera also stopped working right before the young man's life ended. And that's where these Ring cameras, cell phone footage videos have come into play. And I don't know if the officer had an initial story that he tried to tell, but because of these follow-up videos from different angles, the officer's story, I don't know what his story is. He doesn't have a story. At the end of the day, a young Black man, a young Black immigrant man who speaks English, but not fluently. And if you watch some of the video, you can see the distress that this young man was in. Feared, ran. He did not have weapons on him. At the end of the video, the police officer was able to straddle the young man. The young man was face down. And for some reason, that's when his camera goes black and the young man's life ended with the officer on top of the young man and a gunshot wound to the back of the young man's head. So I will share my screen. We'll watch a short video from ABC News, and then we'll get into the articles and talk about what happened in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Have to grab my speaker. Y'all know we a little, struggle stream 101. All right, let's listen up.
Deadly police shooting in Grand Rapids, Michigan. There have been protests after 26-year-old Patrick Lyoya was shot in the head during a traffic stop. The victim's family is speaking out. Alex Perez has the story. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, good morning, George. Patrick Lyoya's parents insist the officer did not have to use lethal force. They believe their son was executed. This morning, protesters taking to the streets for another day, demanding the firing of the Grand Rapids, Michigan police officer who shot and killed 26-year-old Patrick Lyoya. His family speaking out for the first time, the Congolese immigrants through a translator expressing their grief.
So right there, we know that English is not his first language.
And asking that the officer be prosecuted.
As a parent, I was thinking maybe it was my son who was going to bury me, he will assist in my funeral. But what is so astonishing, I am the one burying my son.
The incident recorded on an officer body camera, dash cam, security cameras, and a bystander's cell
There's 4 views of what took place.
Phone unfolding back on April 4th when police say Lyoya was pulled over because the plates on his car were registered to a different vehicle.
So he's pulled over because of plates on his car being registered to a different vehicle, and his life is gone now.
No. Stop. Put your hands up.
The situation quickly escalating when Lyoya attempts to flee and the officer pursues.
Fleeing, running should not be a deadly offense.
The officer deploys his taser, Lyoya fighting and wrestling to get to the officer's taser.
An immigrant who does not speak English as his first language, who comes from a war-torn country, is afraid. And this officer does not know how to de-escalate.
Okay.
Stop!
With Lyoya down and facing the ground, the officer ends up on top of him, and as the struggle continues, the officer then drops.
I'm sorry, I have to take a deep breath real quick. This is the image from not the officer's camera. It's either a ring image or a video image from a pedestrian. The officer is now fully on top of Lyoya. He has him on the ground. He is doing all of this because it is his goal to apprehend the afraid young man. Police officers, if you are afraid to have a fight or to tussle with someone, and the first reaction, because he doesn't have any weapons, is to pull your gun on him, there is a problem.
Draws his firearm and shoots Lyoya in the head. Family attorney Ben Crump argues while Lyoya was trying to escape, he never threatened the officer.
Never.
It is an unjustifiable use of deadly force because the police escalated a traffic stop into an execution.
And state police continue to investigate the shooting and the officer's use of force. They will hand over their findings to the prosecutor, who will then determine if charges will be filed. Michael?
All right, thank you so much for that, Alex.
As of today, charges have not been filed, and we do not know the name of the officer. We do not know as of today. This happened on April the 4th. The footage was released earlier this week. And today we are still left with questions of who this officer is and what the response will be. Hey, Jack, I just saw you come in. Hey, Jack. Hey, boo. Everybody is giving love. All right, now I will share my screen and let's talk about some of the details of what actually happened on that day and some of the things that are happening behind the scenes and some of the protests. All right, so I don't have a birth date for Patrick. I got to look down to make sure I spell his name phonetically correct so I would know how to say it. Lyoya. His name is Patrick Lyoya. He's 26 years old. His last day with us was April the 4th, 2022. Caramelinated, I'm not sure what they're going to do. I can tell you that the Secretary of State made a statement about keeping Patrick's driving records sealed. That caused some uproar from some people in our state, and Benson retracted that statement. I have seen a statement from our in Michigan, our assistant governor, lieutenant governor, is a Black man, Garland Gilchrist. I have seen some information from him about this tragedy on Twitter. This is huge in Michigan. It is absolutely huge in Michigan. It is all that they are talking about. All of my friends, all of our, this is a problem. This is a problem. All right, thank you for the flowers and the love for the ladies, Jack. We appreciate you. All right, so this first article that I'm going to get into, Patrick Lyoya could rethink of U.S. police traffic stops save lives. This article is coming from the BBC. John Sudworth is the author, and when was it written? Today, literally today, hours ago, because this is it's hot here. It's trending here. All right, the fatal shooting of a young Black man in Michigan after a scuffle during a traffic stop has once again raised questions about the police use of lethal force and why pulling over African-American motorists so often leads to tragedy. One of the things that growing up, and you still hear this today, and I'm not saying what is right or what is wrong, but running from a police officer should not be a reason for you to lose your life. A lot of Black people in America know that we have to be very submissive when we encounter police officers. We grew up that way. It doesn't mean that everybody understands that concept or everybody buys into it. Whether it's right or wrong, a police officer should learn how to de-escalate and to know when to give chase. That man hadn't done anything criminally. That officer could have sat in his car behind the car and just waited till old boy came back. And in the video, there was a passenger in the car. Okay, I can't tell the officer what he should have did. I'm getting angry. I don't want to be angry when I talk about this story. We shouldn't have to be submissive, but we do. We know that that's a fact. That's a conversation that a lot of Black parents have to have, especially with their Black sons in America. It's just a reality. Well, hello, Snuggle668. How are you? Snuggles been with me for a minute. I don't get to see you that often, Snuggles. It's good to see you here. I would like you to have a conversation with Officer Daly. Is that the officer? Who is Officer Daly, Snuggles? I don't know who that is. All right, let's go into here. I'll wait for you to respond, Snuggles. Let me know. In a quiet suburb of the Michigan city of Grand Rapids, a collection of flowers, cards, and candles has been placed against a tree next to a small front lawn. This corner of Nelson Avenue and Gregg Street, the intersection of two parallel rows of neat clapboard houses with cars in the driveways and Happy Easter decorations in the porches, could be anywhere in the great American Midwest. Some of the residents, though, speak of something else far less visible, but just as commonplace: a sense of insecurity on account of the color of their skin. Once again, we're at the same question: police brutality, police injustice in our country, says Terry Roberts, 57. I think most Black men go through that. We get stopped for no reason at all, or just because we're driving Black. That's how it is. This week, the police released video footage of the fatal shooting of 26-year-old Patrick Lyoya. The tragic incident was caught in graphic detail and from multiple angles on a police body camera, a police dashboard camera, an eyewitness's phone, and a doorbell security system from one of those Nelson Avenue homes. It makes difficult viewing from all of them. Frame by frame, what began as a routine traffic incident with Mr. Lyoya being questioned by a white police officer over a suspected license plate violation unfolds rapidly towards an outcome that has once again put the question of racial injustice and policing firmly in the national spotlight. Mr. Lyoya at times seems confused and tries to run. At one point, his hand can be seen holding and fending off an electric gun while the officer attempts to deploy it from close range. In the ensuing struggle, Mr. Lyoya is forced face down to the ground with the policeman lying on top of him, shouting at him to let go of the taser. Then, without warning, the officer draws his gun and shoots Mr. Lyoya in the head. A short drive east from Grand Rapids, in the Michigan state capital of Lansing, the same biting wind blows from across the Great Lakes, even in spring. But there's one important difference between the two cities that might, some people believe, offer a way to help prevent more deaths like that of Patrick Lyoya. 2 years ago, after the George Floyd incident, we wanted to evaluate our policies, says Lansing Mayor Andy Shore. The incident in which Mr. Floyd died at the hands of a police officer who knelt on his neck for more than 8 minutes prompted Mr. Shore to outlaw restraint techniques like chokeholds. But it also led to a wider review in which a decision was made to curtail the range of reasons for which police officers can stop people in cars. We put in place a policy that said we're not going to have our officers pull people over just for non-public safety reasons, says the mayor. While offenses that pose a danger, like speeding or running stop signs, are still enforced at the roadside, he believes that there are other far more efficient and potentially less confrontational ways to tackle things like cracked tail lights or license plate violations. And telling officers which kind of violations they should pull drivers over for also reduces the risk of conscious or unconscious racial profiling inherent in a more free-for-all approach, which he acknowledged can lead to escalation, which is what happened in this case. You never want a traffic stop to end up in a death of the person being pulled over or of the officer. That I totally agree with. It will now be for a Michigan police investigation to answer the key questions in the case of Patrick Lyoya. What, if any, threat did he pose, and what level of force was appropriate in response? But they are questions that police forces across the U.S. find themselves asking all too frequently. A recent New York Times investigation of roadside traffic stops found that over a 5-year period, police officers shot dead more than 400 U.S. drivers who were neither wielding a gun or a knife nor involved in a violent crime. I'm going to read that last part again. A recent New York Times investigation of roadside traffic stops found that over a 5-year period, police officers shot dead more than 400 U.S. drivers who were neither wielding a gun or a knife nor involved in a violent crimes. When I see information like that, I ask myself, if you are afraid, you should not. Why are you joining a police force? If you are fearful, why do you join the police force? You're either joining because you may live in a world of retaliation, or because you feel like that gun gives you courage. I would hope people are police officers because not only do they want to uphold and enforce the law, because you want to make society a better place, a more just place. But when you see things like 400 unarmed drivers being shot by police officers, you have to ask yourself, how did we get here, America? How did we get here? As a result of those kinds of figures, Lansing is not the only place trying to think differently about how to reduce them. Los Angeles and Philadelphia are among other cities and districts where the police or city leaders have been rewriting the rules for routine traffic stops. Carlton T. Mayers, an attorney who works with the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, said he welcomed the changes as a practical approach to a long-running problem. We've seen young teenagers, Black and Latino, having guns pulled on them over a mistaken identity. We've seen a young Black man get punched in the face on video during a routine traffic stop, he told me. And this is just within the past 2 years in Grand Rapids, prior to Patrick's tragedy. We know that these issues exist, and in order to address it, we need everybody to step up to the plate. In a country where high levels of gun ownership will remain a fact of life, and where there's no easy fix for discrimination and bias, reforming traffic stop rules can at least minimize the chances of minor interactions ending in fatalities. It sounds good. When does this take place and get fixed? Mr. Mayers welcomes the shift in some police forces towards minor traffic infringements being handled by administrators rather than traffic police. Now you have unarmed individuals taking on that responsibility instead of armed law enforcement, he says. But at the end of the day, it cannot just be one policy change or one law change. It's always a holistic approach that you need. And it has to be a multi-pronged approach. Again, that sounds good. And we know that. When does it get implemented? I saw a few things moving over here. Kara Melaneda says, do they teach our children what to do if confronted by police? They don't. We are tasked with that, Kara Melaneda. And that's where the disconnect lies. Police, you should give lessons to the entire society. How do you stay alive when pulled over by a police officer? Happy All Day says, I wonder how many are African American. I would gather, this is just me, allegedly, that the percentage is going to be high. I would garner that percentage would be high, Happy. Well, hello, Andrea. Hey, girl. Hey, I've been missing you over here. It's good to see you. You know, you be going on in the middle of the night where I'm at. And girl, I be having to catch the replays and stuff. But child, I see you. I see you over there doing things and the murders. And I saw the banana darkened thing that was, you know, the thing of the thing. Girl. I be seeing you, girl. Hey, girl. Hey. All right, let's keep going, you guys. Yes, give Andrea some love. Thank you for being here, Andrea. I appreciate it, girl. All right, let's keep going. A few doors down from where Patrick Lyoya was shot, I met Ida Nixon, a Black woman who has lived in the street for 43 years. He didn't say on that street. He said in the street. Can we say on that street? Because in the street makes it seem like Miss Nixon, Miss Ida is living in the streets. No, ma'am. No, ma'am, news people. Get it right. When is it going to get solved? We will never know, she sighed. I feel sorry for his family, she said, and then added, and a police officer and his family, you know what they're going through too. All right, before I get into the next article. Yes, hey, boo. Yes, I listen. I saw it, Jack. I was like, oh, okay, Andrea, I see you, girl. I see you over here doing some things different. Girl. All right, this is the second article. I think I have 3 articles for you guys. It's not going to take, we're here for, not necessarily, I don't call this a good time today, an informative time. It won't be a long time. I won't keep you guys here forever. All right, this is the second story. Patrick Lyoya family calls for officer involved in fatal shooting to be named. This is from the same source that I got the first article from, which is the BBC. The brother of the Black man fatally shot by U.S. police this month called video of the shooting the most horrifying thing he has ever seen. I agree. I was traumatized, which is why I'm not playing the video. I was traumatized when the young man got out the car and you could tell he couldn't comprehend what the officer was saying. The officer didn't seem to catch that. He just wanted the gentleman to follow directions. Well, I can't follow directions if, number one, I don't necessarily understand exactly what you're saying. And number two, if I already come to this situationship traumatized by where I came from. So all of that psyche is happening. You can see it literally unfolding. You guys, it's about a 20-minute watch. If you Google it, the police footage is out there. But the what this young man, you could see him thinking on his feet. He wasn't trying to hurt the officer. He was trying to get away. Like he literally just wanted to get away because he was so confused and he didn't understand what was happening to him. Michigan police this week released footage of a police officer shooting Patrick Lyoya, 26, in the head. And this is another thing, y'all. He shot this baby in his head. Not only did he shoot this baby in his head, he shot this baby in the back of his head. The back of his head. In a scuffle over a taser. And don't be surprised if the officer is not charged because it was a scuffle over a taser. You must let an officer tase you, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Because if you try to stop the officer from tasing you, he then obviously has the right to do permanent damage to you. I'm guessing. We'll find out as this case goes along. We'll find out. Mr. Lyoya's family, Congolese refugees. Please keep that in your mind. His parents are Congolese refugees. He is first generation out of Congolese, out of Congo. He is a first generation. His family does not speak English as their first language, which means he was brought up in a non-English speaking home. Addressed media on Thursday and called for the officer's name to be released. As of today, the officer's name has not been released. State police are investigating the incident, which has led to protests. Footage of the April 4th incident in Grand Rapids, Michigan, a town some 150 miles. Let me tell y'all know I'm a D girl, right? Y'all know I'm a D girl. This is one of the things that bothers me about being a D girl, whether I live in the D or leave the D, when they have to, and I understand why they do it, but it still bothers me because they correlate everything to Detroit. A town some 150 miles west of Detroit shows Mr. Lyoya running from the officer following a traffic stop. I can guarantee you there are people in the D who have never been to Grand Rapids. The correlation, I understand why they do it. They want people to understand where we are on the map. But Chile, the Google map is your friend. They need to stop doing that. Because it makes everything seem like it's about Detroit. And this is not about Detroit on this story. There is an altercation over the officer's taser before the officer appears to SHOOT the man as he lies face down on the ground. He's face down on the ground. During Thursday's press conference, Mr. Lyoya's father said through a translator, y'all, the father is speaking through a translator. My life has come to an end. He showed us in the news article, parents, we don't always get to make this decision because of the way the universe works and life works, but it is typically a parent's wish to leave before their children. That is typically the response. I see this one. Oh, wait. Yes. Caramelinated in the back. Yes. Yeah, they do this. They do it with all the major cities. Like you can't stand Detroit. You talk about us all the time, but then when something happens outside of Detroit, you still got to bring what you bringing Detroit into this, and Detroit didn't have nothing to do with that. Like, stop it. I don't know if y'all remember the kid that at the high school in Oxford, Michigan. I think I posted. I don't know if I talked. Did I talk about that? I don't remember. It's been so much. I think I did. Anyway, the kid in Oxford, Michigan. I've never been to Oxford, Michigan, and I get around my state, y'all. They literally, when that Oxford story came out, XXXX miles from Detroit, the suburbs of Detroit. No, ma'am. No, sir. That's not that. No, it's not Detroit. Stop it. They need to stop doing it with all of these cities that they claim that they can't stand. And we got so many problems, but yet you correlate everything to us. Stop it. All right. Dozens of demonstrators gathered on Wednesday outside the Grand Rapids Police Department demanding the name. They want the name of the officer involved to be made public. Authorities said the officer will not be identified unless criminal charges were to be brought against him. I feel like I need to do some research. Is this normal? Do you guys know, is this normal for an officer's name not to be released unless criminal charges? Like, not just finishing the investigation. We're not going to tell you who he was unless there are criminal charges filed against him. That's interesting. Mr. Lyoya is originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and he lived in Grand Rapids for about 5 years, according to the Office of Civil Rights Attorney Benjamin Crump, who is representing the Lyoya family. Mr. Crump on Thursday said of the shooting, "There is no way to try to spin it or justify it, but they will. But they will, girl." He called for the officer to be fired and charged. "What you see in this video is unnecessary, unjustifiable, excessive use of fatal force. You see a police officer escalate a minor traffic stop into a deadly execution," he said. GRPD Chief Eric Winstrom has called the shooting a tragedy, because it is. All right, this is our last article. Patrick Lyoya shooting witness. "I knew it wasn't gonna end well." This is from CNN. The authors of this article are Omar Jimenez and Steve Almasy, and this was from, is this yesterday or today? Today is the 16th. This is from today, child. Today. Grand Rapids, Michigan, CNN. A man who witnessed the struggle between Patrick Lyoya and the Grand Rapids police officer who fatally shot him told CNN on Friday he knew the incident wouldn't end well. "I knew when the tussle began," Wayne Butler said. "If you tussle with a white man with a gun and you're black in America, you end up dead." That was my thing. I know that to be a fact. You don't tussle with white people because they'll kill you. Oh my goodness. Lyoya was fatally shot April 4th in the Michigan city after he and the officer, who has not been identified, had a physical encounter. Lyoya's family has called for the officer to be prosecuted. The officer is on paid leave while Michigan State Police conduct an investigation. Butler was outside his home watching the scene unfold and can be seen with his identity blurred on some of the videos released by police. "It's just a regular neighborhood. I mean, it's not super fancy. We're just regular folks," said Butler, who has lived there a few years. He said he understands why Lyoya got out of his vehicle and didn't get back in when the officer told him to return to the vehicle. "I don't condone it, but I do understand how someone can feel scared and not understand and be confused," said Butler. "He made a mistake, and for his mistake, he paid with his life." Oh my goodness, y'all. Oh my goodness. This is tragic. Hey, sis. That's okay. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, sis. Thank you for being here. Everybody's saying, yes, he's on paid leave. Paid. That's what they do. You get put on paid leave. And then we still don't know if we are going to find out who exactly the officer is. Like, when do we find out who the officer is? We know he's on paid leave, but we don't know who the officer is. And if the officer isn't criminally charged, guess what? We ain't going to know who the officer is. Huh? What? Police officers are public servants, last time I checked. What? And what? Child, I cannot. All right, everybody's giving love. Let's keep going. Authorities have said wait, did I finish this one? Because I got distracted. I know I felt like I got distracted in the middle. Oh yeah, I finished it. I'm sorry, y'all. All right, authorities have said the officer pulled the car driven by Lyoya over for improper registration. Videos released to the public show Lyoya get out of the car and have a brief discussion with the officer. I think that initial conversation the officer should have understood. If somebody gets out of the car, what is the protocol for a police officer? Because you're supposed to stay in the car. Is your first response high alert? Should you cuff him? Should you talk to him? Like, there was a disconnect right there. Something was wrong for that gentleman to get out of the car. We know now that he's not a Native American and he doesn't speak English well. He's only been in Grand Rapids for 5 years, so he might not even fully understand all of the laws or even understand what happened with the plates on his car, right? So that should have been the first. Something's wrong. Motorists don't get out of cars. Why did you get out? Like, did you just have a conversation? What's going on? Get back in. I don't know. There was a disconnect that wasn't identified by the officer, and the young man he didn't have the ability to bridge that disconnect because he just didn't. The encounter then turned physical. I knew it wasn't going to end well, said Butler. The officer apparently deployed his taser twice during the struggle, and at points during the incident, Lyoya put his hands on the taser, the video shows. It looks like they each had a hand on the taser for about 90 seconds. Each had a hand. Grand Rapids Police Chief Eric Winstrom told reporters Wednesday, they were struggling over the taser from my view of the video. The officer can also be heard saying, let go of the taser several times during the videos released to the public. Father says, my life has come to an end. Joined by attorney Benjamin Crump, Lyoya's family spoke Thursday to reporters, his father saying he thought he'd be safe during police encounters in the U.S. His family didn't even understand the dynamics of the police in the United States. When people try to demonize immigrants coming into our country, there should be a safe place for these people to come in and get acclimated to American society. And Black immigrants coming into America need to be connected with Black people who have been living here since they were born and can help them navigate the way that this country actually works. This is tragic, and this is so sad to me. What is making me cry more is to see my son killed by a police officer for a small mistake, Peter Lyoya said through an interpreter. My life has come to an end. Patrick's mother said she's deeply hurt and wounded and cannot stop herself from crying. The Lyoya family moved from the Democratic Republic of Congo to the United States in 2014. This officer failed to follow the basic training. When the officer engages Patrick, he goes and puts his hands on him. Don't put your hands on people, not even police. And when Patrick goes to walk away, he could have just stepped back and called for backup, Crump said. I noticed that too. It was only one police car there when we watched the video, y'all. This was one police officer trying to do the most. Because again, I just believe he could have got back in his car, let Patrick run. He had the car pulled over. There was a passenger in the car. The officer had already run the plates. You got a car, you got the plates, and you got a passenger. Why are you pursuing this man who looks like something is wrong with him from the moment that you pulled him over? When you look at him escalating the situation, the officer was the one being violent. Later, he told CNN, this was a person who could have called for backup. It was a traffic stop. He had, child, listen, I'm going to be Ben Crump one day. I said the same thing, Ben. He had the car there. He had the passenger in the car. Patrick was in flip-flops when he was killed. You could have let that boy run till he got tired. You could see he was barefooted by the time it happened. Police have said backup was dispatched when the officer began to chase. Why would you chase before your backup gets there? These officers don't have to end our lives. They choose to. Because a clear man dragged a cop around a parking lot. Child, I saw that. Saki, I saw it. I saw that video. This not I don't even know if this is a recent one. I've seen a couple of these clear videos where these guys, they be out there boxing, shadow boxing the police, and they be shadow boxing back. Like, and then the suspect will get a hit in and run. And the police officer he ain't grabbed a gun or a taser. Hanging from his truck. No taser pulled, no shots fired. It's a choice they make, period. Had he been clear, he would have allowed him to speak to him, make whatever excuse he wanted, and the man would have walked away with his life. But because he was black, child, you better tell him. Tell him. When asked Wednesday by CNN what police officers are trained to do in these situations, the chief said, typically the answer is that you're trying to place him in custody. You're trying to secure that individual. The follow-up question I'm sure will be, was the use of force in policy? And I'm not going to comment on that. But the test is going to be whether, in the view of a reasonable police officer, whether that deadly force was needed to prevent death or great bodily harm to that officer. And that's why I said this taser argument is going to be huge. It's going to be the backbone of the officer's defense because he was reaching for his taser. Happy says yes, and they do nothing to him. Andrea, I've been so bothered by this story since it came out. It hit here. I mean, it happened here, but because I'm not in Grand Rapids, I literally didn't hear about it until the video came out this week. And it's just blown up all over our social media in the D. And my daughter is in college and she went to the protest. She called me and she was like, Ma, I was like, baby, I know you already own it. I'm your mama. Please be safe. Please stay safe. Stay with your friends and go. And my daughter went to the protest. She was there. Girl, I watched a clear man with a whole sword swinging it at a cop with other cops watching. Not a single shot fired. Man, Saki, I've seen clear people with weapons, guns, and knives going at police, and police are begging them, please put down your weapon. Please, I don't want, like, I've seen that. And I'm like it's traumatizing to even see that because it's like, why isn't that the way our people are treated? Like, it might not even be anything happening in the news, and you'll see something like that, and it is triggering as a Black woman. I can't speak for nobody else. As a Black woman, it is triggering to see how they put kid gloves on to handle some people, and they put boxing gloves on to handle us. It is triggering. Has he been buried? You know what, Kira Melanated? That is an excellent
Deadly
question that
police
I don't.
shooting in
Hold on, let
Grand
me
Rapids,
see.
Michigan.
I'm sorry, I had to go to my other screen. Let's see. Because this did happen April 4th. I don't see anything about it. There's not even a lot of images of him up here. They have not spoken about it. This is why I don't know his birth date, his actual birth date when he was born. There's nothing about it. This literally just hit the news for us 2-3 days ago. It's just now breaking. Like, it's just now breaking. It's just now breaking. And that's sad too. This baby still hasn't been laid to rest, very likely, because I'm sure it would have shown up in the news. This is just sad and terrible and heartbreaking. All right. That is the end of the news articles. We're going to look at some pictures of Patrick's family speaking on him. Right now, the only images in the media are just the images of him at the scene. There's like one or two. The one that I have on my thumbnail is not at the scene, but there's like most of the images online are not from his family. They're not from people who love and care about him. They're from the media, because there's nothing out here. Like, there's nothing about Patrick's life out here. He cannot be forgotten. This cannot just be swept under the rug. So this is absolutely a story that I will continue to monitor and follow. Saki says, exactly. They beg the clear folks to put down their weapons. Please don't make me shoot. Yeah, I've seen it and I've heard it. And like, there's a part of me like, I'm glad. Like, yes, that's how you police. And then I think about our reality and I'm like, but why can't you police us in the same way? Why do we scare you so bad that your first reaction is to shoot us? I'll take you to Burger King. Child, don't get me started about them taking that. Listen, he done shot up and killed everybody in the church. And they took him to Burger King. They don't even ring the doorbells. The last story, remember I did the story about Amir? They just kick the door in. And then when he's defending the home that he's sleeping in, they did him like that. Remember the Amir story? That tragic story I covered had me in tears. He had a right to defend his space. There are so many reasons and excuses to justify the differentiated behavior that we see from officers, the differentiated outcomes that our community sees. We are statistically, let the census tell it and let the United States tell it, we're the minority, but statistically, our numbers keep being the majority. That doesn't make any sense. When you see problems like that, your job as a politician, as a policymaker, as anybody who cares should be, this data does not make sense. There's a problem. How are we going to fix the problem? And there have been no fixes. When we started talking about the first article that I read, it was a lot of talk about kumbaya and all of the fixes that we could make and should make, but we still haven't made any fixes. We haven't made any changes. And on April the 4th, an immigrant from Congo who was not an English-speaking first language 26-year-old. I'm almost 50. I'm calling him a baby because in my book, if my 26-year-old is done in by the police, he's a baby. He hasn't even experienced life hasn't even really kicked in for him at 26. I promise you, I've been that number before. This is a tragedy, and it's sad, and it needs to stop. Look at his family. They came here for safety. They did not come here for their son to be executed by somebody that they would hope would protect him, because they didn't know. Exactly, Saki. And Black women get the same disrespect, child. Happy. You know, we could have a whole conversation about Black. That was that little baby that they got that key and woke him up. Yep. Just walked right in on him. Just walked right in on him. Exactly. In the past, Black women were treated better than Black men. But as of late, child, anybody Black can get it. Men, women, children. It's a choice that you are making. Well, you know what has happened in the Black community. The Black manosphere space that has been created to give Black men this voice they've never had before allows the disrespect of the Black woman. So if you can visually see so many Black men disrespecting Black women, society is like, oh, well, we was, we've been ready to get down. We got permission now. Other Black men out here, and they just pile on, and it continues, and the effects are felt far and wide. All right, let's look at some more pictures of the family, and one last picture of Patrick Lyoya. This is Attorney Ben Crump. The mother is speaking. Can you imagine having all those microphones in front of your face? My heart goes out to you, Mom. These are pictures from the protests. Say his name, Patrick Lyoya. Some more images from the protests. Justice for Patrick. In memory of Patrick Lyoya. He was 26 years old. His life was taken too soon at the hands of a Grand Rapids police officer on April the 4th, 2022. And I will be following up on this story in the future, along with some other stories. We have to follow up on the Jariah Smith story. That should be coming together sometime in May, I think. So I will be following up on that either in May or June. We need to follow up on the Lauren Smithfield story, the Christian Obum. I feel like I'm always saying his name incorrectly, and I apologize. Obumseli story and the Amir Locke story. Like I haven't heard anything else about the Amir Locke story. So I am absolutely going to follow up on all of these stories. This is why this space exists. This is heartbreaking. My heart goes out to the family, to the friends, to the just this is difficult. Happy All Day says they have to keep the narrative that we are the minority. Can't tell us we are the majority. Scared we might think too highly of ourselves. Quiet as is kept. Happy, I think allegedly we are the majority. I bet you if everybody took a DNA test and you want to roll with that, even though I don't necessarily agree with this rule, but since America made it a rule with the, what is it, the one drop of blood in you, I bet you more clear people who will realize they're really not clear. Like, girl, you're not clear. You didn't know who your ancestors was, girl. Yeah, they will be surprised that you're not really clear. Exactly. That's why they need to stop bashing Black women, because it's giving others permission to disrespect us. Absolutely. This is absolutely heart-wrenching, caramelinated. Scared we might actually band together and take our country. Child. May he always be remembered. Yes, please. Justice for Patrick. Justice for the Lyoya family. They deserve more than what just happened to their son. I promise you they do. All right. I thank you guys. I have not heard anything about Amir Locke, but Amir Locke is in my, he's here. He's still here. So we're going to follow up. We're going to follow up about Amir. Don't get it twisted. And all of the other lives that were taken too soon. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Please enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I hope to see you guys a little bit later, maybe in some chats. I'm about to hit the streets because it's Saturday and the outside is halfway kind of sort of acting like they're trying to open up. So your girl gonna mask up and get cute for the rest of the day and do some things. I love you. Thank you for being here. Mwah. And I will see you guys. I might see y'all tomorrow. I doubt it though. Tomorrow is Easter. I don't think I'm going live tomorrow. So I'll see you guys soon. Thank you. I appreciate you and peace.